Professor Wole Soyinka has reacted to the words of the Labour Party vice presidential candidate, Dati Baba Ahmed, that the Chief Justice of Nigeria should not swear in the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Professor Wole Soyinka, speaking in an interview with Channels Television, stated clearly that the words of Dati Baba Ahmed is inciting. While analyzing the third force, which is the Labour Party, the professor alleged that the third force seems to be having a huge fascism slithering into the party. He argued that they more or less want things to happen quite fast for them while they neglect instructions being given to them. He identified that the third force has lost its momentum after the election. According to him, the fascism of the followers has also crippled the effectiveness of the groups, as a lot of people now perceive them to be too rigid. The Nobel Prize-winning professor argued that no Democrat should speak in such an inciting manner in pursuit of power. Now, we'll be listening to Professor Wole Soyinka. I know that a lot of people do not agree to him, particularly people who presently are pro-Labour Party, pro-Peter Obi. But then, what is this all about? What is this all about? Are we supposed to be too rigid when pursuing power? What does it mean to be so rigid? What about the inciting words such as Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be sworn in? If this happens, there will be war. What about talks about people should go out on the street to regain their mandate and many other things? Are this part of what Professor Wole Soyinka is actually pointing to? What is really going on here? But before we proceed to listen to Professor Wole Soyinka, do something for others by liking and sharing this video. It's very important that you do that for others and also for this channel. And if you are just coming across this channel, tap on the subscription button. This will enable you get these videos immediately they drop from our place, from our own point here. Now, what is fascism? Before we proceed to listen to what he has to say, well, it is defined in this context as a political movement such as Labour Party that embraces far-right nationalism and the forceful suppression of any opposition. Eventually, they end up to be an authoritarian government. Now, is this pointed towards Peter Obi and Yusuf Dati or the obedience? We'll find out about this in the next couple of minutes. Let us get into it.
Because they saw what was happening, they saw the possibility of a change. And they're politicians. Their life is politics. They're not going to sit down. I mean, people, as somebody once said, you don't sit down and wait for democracy to fall in your lap. You have to work for it. You have to fight for it, you know. You have to negotiate for it. But don't sacrifice your principles. And so we have those other blocks. In other words, this election actually is a consequence. I mean, what happened at these elections, the emergence, for instance, of quote-unquote a third force. You see, it didn't happen overnight. It's a build-up on all those blocks I have already cited. And so the moment came when it seemed as if we had reached a mass moment. Unfortunately, a bit of fascism, from our observation, and this is one of the reasons why I was happy I was away at the time, a lot of fascism was creeping in. People saw what was supposed to happen, what we expected to happen, to be a divine command, to be inevitable, and to be right there and then, and began to act fascistically to other people. If you disagree with them on strategy, on even little issues of tactics, because they kept communicating with me that we don't like what we're seeing, what's developing here. So once again, the building blocks were not even just by the old brigade, but even by the youth. Oh, I forgot to mention SARS. SARS was another build-up. NSARS was another build-up. No, significant momentum in the mobilization of alternative force within the nation. So there was alarm. One, by the old brigade, and as I said, there was a creeping fascism within the ranks by the new brigade. I watched a program, and when I watched this person speaking on air, I said, I understand, I can see what I was hearing now about. I could see how this new force was beginning to lose momentum, was beginning to lose even support because of a fascistic tendency among the followers. But I watched that program. Go and watch all the programs yesterday. You see that I don't want to mention names or anything of the sort, but you will know the one I'm talking about. That how could a Democrat, a self-described Democrat, aspiring to power by democratic means, speak like that, in that incisive way, in that denigration of all the structures which are supposed in the end to come to the aid of an election. Those structures will not guarantee they will not decide the result, but they at least will guarantee a reasonable, sustainable edifice of the democratic process. And I listened to that man talking, and I said, oh God, Nigeria is in trouble.
Indeed, Nigeria is in trouble. We are in trouble in a lot of ways. I mean, apart from individuals who are speaking thought and also individuals who are trying to incite, we do not know if they are kind of trying to mirror this revolution. And we don't know what it is exactly. But you heard the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. He said it clearly. He said the momentum built up when youth came out during NSAS. They wanted things better. But, separating that excessive push, violent and harsh, separating it is difficult for someone like Ahmed Dati. He was supposed to probably have spoken in that democratic manner, according to Wole Soyinka. He should have said, yes, we are going to go through the process of the court. We are going to use the court. We are going to go through the judiciary. We will be using the legal means to get what we want. That is what he is saying. Peter Obi has repeated several times that he is going to the court and that the court will eventually decide. Now, whatever anyone does behind the scene, like the calls that got leaked out recently and all of that, whatever anybody does behind the scene without anyone seeing is not what we can discuss because we don't know. But once it gets leaked, everyone will begin to see the true picture of things. But this is how it has always been. There are times that people are rigid and they get to a point, they begin to loosen up. And there are times that people want to go through a particular pathway to achieve what they want. And that pathway is legal and legit. But due to the kind of playing field that they are in, they tend to want to go extra. They want to go extra. And this is when they begin to bring in the same thing that they are complaining about. That is why you find out that activists and many other people who claim that they have the best of interest and that they are fighting for the people, once they step in there, because somehow they might have used some means to get there, probably replicate the same oppressive means to get to that position. Once they get in there, they begin to perform what you frowned against, what people don't want. It is so difficult. But how does it work if you go to the court and you lose or lost faith in the court? What will you do? Will you not call people out on the streets to fight, to hijack? Well, it doesn't work that way. That's just the point. You have to continue going to the court. If you are tired of the court, then you come back again. Try and look at the lacuna in the past election and what the other party did. How was it possible for them to have done it? These are the things you begin to push towards. If it is reformation, if you have to look at the legislators and legislative laws, the legislation in general, then you work towards all of these things. It is a slow process. It is not always easy, but Once you can educate the people and you push towards this and you keep on repeating the narrative and break it smaller for people to understand, I think we will get there. Just like how people never expected that Nigerians will come out en mass, the youth will come out to fight and say enough is enough, answers. What are your thoughts about this one? Put it in the comment section below. Do not forget to like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here.